image that I have shared, I will try to share it here as well in the Teams chat. I'm just sharing all the important stuff that's accessible only for this team. So just keep on working. Don't miss out any opportunity. You pause. Yeah. So I shared a message that they upload yesterday's recording to Teams or not? To YouTube or not? Did you get yesterday's recording?
Not uploaded.
I'm not able to hear you. Guys, can you please stop? Did you get yesterday's recording or not?
No, Vajrang.
Okay, I'll upload it. Fine. So just now posted the question in the Teams channel. Open that and someone can share their screen and let's discuss, quickly discuss. If we want to create a solution, how exactly can we proceed? So yesterday, what did we discuss, by the way?
We discussed about roles of you
Okay.
have yeah.
We discussed about orchestrator settings, roles, and responsibilities. Fine. Hands-on. Hands-on implementation of multi-bot architecture, right?
Yes.
Okay, done. I will just upload the video and I will share it. But yeah, so tell me, how will you solve today's use case? Think it as an interview. Don't be silent. Come on, how much time are you willing to be silent?
Vajrang, can I explain that?
I'm not asking any of the stop, so please continue.
Okay. Yeah, so for that, can I share my screen?
Go ahead. You are open to do anything. You just need the solution to be completed.
Yeah, so this website, I have to extract of three objects. So phones, laptop, monitors. So first
Okay.
first I'll use one array list variable. I'll
Okay.
pass that phones, laptops, and monitors. Then I use
Mhm.
for each. And then I'll use one click activity, and in that ANM, I'll provide that item one by one. It will click and it will extract data. Then I'll use add data row, and then I will write that range and kill that process.
So why do you want to add it as a data row?
I have to add that row. So
Like why? And why did you add empty brackets in that add data row?
no, I'm trying to add that, but here not getting data row. So I think there is no need.
So before you create it, did you think about exceptions and did you think about like I really like the approach and this is the same approach that I also followed. So the approach is good. And let's say that you started and while you're extracting the second or third item, like the laptops,
Yes.
the screens got failed. Then how are you planning to start it back? Like, what is your idea?
My
Information, idea.
idea is like first of all, I'll extract this phones data, phones
Mhm,
list. I'll store it into Excel sheet
mhm,
that first column. Then again,
mhm,
I'll do second for laptop. I'll extract this list, laptop list. I'll store in
mhm,
second column. Same
mhm,
I'll do for monitor also, like three. Uh,
mhm. Okay, let's assume that after laptops bot failed, like the application got closed. Then
yeah, huh. Every like every transaction, the application will close. Like the first phone will close after
why it
extract.
should close? No, no, no. That's the wrong approach. If you're closing it every time and if you're opening, that's a wrong approach,
Yeah.
right? Because if it is already open, if it is just a transaction item, then why should you close it?
Yes. They are implemented in normal sequence. Yeah.
So even though you are implementing in normal sequence, you can just use the application browser on the top and keep for each in the inside, right? Then you can just click on phones depending upon the activity. You can just click on it and extract data table. Even that will work instead of opening it every time.
Yes.
Yes. So check with that.
Yeah.
That's so things are correct. Few things you are missing. Okay, what about others? So this is good, Kaveri. And if you are just creating this something like this in the code in front of them, then you will definitely be selected.
Yeah. Thank you.
There are few misses in between, but yeah, you can still go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you.
What about others? Come on.
If to handle exceptions, maybe we'll use uh, catch block. No,
Mhm.
I have no idea. I just want to know.
So don't just say that you don't have idea after you say something. Be
I mean,
confident that
yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
because I'm
I'm
still
not taking, I'm not telling about here or this answer.
okay.
But in a regular scenario also, don't just say that after telling an answer, don't just say that I don't have any idea. So
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
you said, be confident and say that. Okay.
Okay.
So whatever you have said is correct. We will use try catch block. But how exactly are we going to use try catch block is what we need to see.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So any other question, any other answers how we can implement this? Speak up. Lalitha, you can go on mute if you don't, if you're not talking. Others, come on. See, I can be silent. I don't have any problem. We still have only one more session because Friday will not have a session. So Wednesday and Thursday. Today is Wednesday for you. Just one more session. So speak. This is your interview. If you are cracking this, then you will be selected. Think that and answer.
Vajrang, I have to write all three data in only one sheet or in different sheet also.
And write in different sheets.
Okay.
What
Someone,
Kaveri has her approach is like, okay, the first she tried to extract from each product, she scraped the data and she has uh, what is it? She wrote it to spreadsheet, right, with different columns. But like you said, instead of putting the application browser like inside for loop, if you open the application browser and then put a for inside, that is okay. That I understood. Uh, yeah.
what about others? You don't have only 2 members in the team. You have still 12 members. We are waiting 2 more minutes. So who else have written the code for this? Someone said that they have written the code, right? Who's that?
Me,
Vijay?
yes.
Show me the code, Vijay.
Yeah, I build like a kid, okay? I missed it.
Show it, show it, show it. Something is better than nothing. I appreciate it. Always.
I build it
Okay.
general way, but it's working fine in different sheets with the prices, okay? But I did not
Mhm.
take a list of for a,
So it's not
I,
dynamic, like you
yeah,
just clicked
I
on
take one
an
by
one
one.
item. So how are you handling the next sheet? Like it has pagination, right? How are you handling it?
I use three right ranges for different sheets.
No, no, pagination in the data scraper. Like we don't have only one page, we have multiple pages.
I use quick after one completed.
So clicking on next.
First of all, I extract the data phones and click the laptops, monitor
No,
laptop
like in laptops, we have 2 pages. How are you extracting?
for next page. Okay.
Yeah, you're selecting the next page.
Yeah, it's selected laptops.
Okay. Okay, fine. This is good. But yeah, you didn't apply dynamic approach here.
Yeah, that is,
Okay, so that's what you're missing. So
yeah.
if you have that immediately in your mind, okay, I can create it using a for loop, I can do it so that I can reduce the steps. If you can get that idea in the interview, so that will create an impact. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Who else have completed this one? At least speak, even if you're not trying completing. Tell me about your approach. Poonam is creating. Poonam, but you can talk, right? Why are you not talking? Poonam? No, Poonam, you're not audible. You should talk.
Vajdan, for next page, we need to take the next button link, and we need to take Boolean condition, and we need to insert the table extraction in the while condition. If it is
I
true,
don't
it will.
think that's not required. You can just use data scraping, and in data scraping at the end, it will ask you to select a next button.
Yes, yes.
Okay, just try that. So one more good news, person from team 6, sorry, project team 1, he plays with 26 lakhs package from 13 lakhs package. So it's like 13 lakhs. Oh, that's great. Just now I got a message. Okay. So waiting for your messages as well. For now, I will show you what I did. Okay. So let me just quickly show you. And by the way, what you guys have done, it's correct. So I'm not commenting anything on it because you are matured enough and your code is matured enough to talk about your knowledge. So I'm sharing my screen. Let me know once you're able to see it. Can you see the screen? Confirm, please.
Blank. Can you open
Blank
blank?
what? Is it blank for everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Sharing my screen again. Please confirm now. You should be able to see demo place folder.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So this is the folder that I have created. So this is the basic flow, like a flow chart, if you ask, and everything with respect to that particular folder, like open a website, close website, and extract information is available here. And this is the best practice that I follow so that if I have multiple applications, I have separate codes for separate with separate folders. Okay. And while giving the solution, I have written this one. In the interest of time, this project is implemented in a flowchart. Login, logout, and extractions are modularized because they are separated. Exceptions are handled to log in case of any exceptions. No retry is implemented for now, but we can it but can be added if required. automation is required. Automation is done using Edge browser. All automation is done using modern UI of UiPath. So I'm giving clear instructions on what exactly is the code and how exactly someone should run it. Steps: open the code in Studio, run main file, report will be generated in data.xlsx file. Okay, so let's go and see what's there in the main. So this is my main. Okay. Auto arrange. So we have init. Once the init is completed, then I'm going with a processing. Then if it is done, then I'm going with end process. Okay. Now, how am I looping? I'm using the same approach of how Kaveri have done it. I'm using a for loop and array of transaction data. I am adding it in the init state. In the init state, few things I'm doing. Cleaning the Edge browser so that I can start from the fresh. Opening the website directly in the init. And here in the array, transaction data, this phone, laptops, and monitor is what the array that I have given. Now coming to transaction process. Now, if you have seen this particular init state, open website, everything, every page or every submodule, I'm keeping it in try catch block. So if there is any error, I will get to know where it failed. Open website failed. More details are this one. Okay. And so why do we use retro? Because once to the next step, but it should not go into next step because it cannot continue if the application is not opened or if there is any error. So we need to rethrow it so that it will be thrown as an exception. That is the reason that I am using rethrow. Now, if I am going back to main, I'm just checking with transaction processing. So here, this I can just delete. There is no need for this. I am having for each loop. In this for each loop, in the import arguments, I'm sending in the category. So category that I mentioned is either phones, laptops, or screens. Now here you go. So how many times am I writing this code? Is it multiple times or is it only once?
Only once.
Exactly. Now, whenever there is a requirement, I just need to send in the details. So what is the argument that I'm getting in category? So here in the click, I'm using a dynamic variable properties. Okay, and here in the selector, which is nothing. So if you can set target selector, and here is the selector, which is window selector, street selector. So if you can see item, anchor, list group item, category. So I'm just passing in as a variable. Okay. So this is what we are working on. Street selector. If you can see, this is the target. Now, if I'm sending in phone, I will click on phone. If I send in some other value, I will get that and I will click it. So once it is done, I'm extracting the values and in the right range, I'm sending out the category. So just the category, only one right range I'm using and I'm writing the data. So every time it tries to do this. So let's go ahead and delete this data. Every time I run this and finally, sorry, I'll just show you one more item. So once that is done in end process, I'm just closing the website. But even here, I'm using some exception handling here. Now, why am I using try catch? Let's assume that closing failed. So what am I doing? So maximize window close and here, how did I close it? Here directly, I have used close always, close, close always. Okay, open none and close always, open never in logout. Or else I can also use close tab over here, even that will work. And finally, in the exception, fails at the end. and it can continue and then close. So I'm just mentioning, so I think we can just update this as close website failed, and then I can just kill the process, like kill Edge browser, so that I can close it completely. When I am writing run item, hoping that this will run, it will open. Clicking on phones. It's not having value. I think it will not extract anything. It extracted. Okay. Let's wait. Even I made some changes, it may show some errors, but let's wait. I can check over here. Output. Audit data extracted. I think it's waiting for next button. Okay, let's run it again. Stop. So I can, so when I'm creating something like this, the best thing that I can do is I can just open this one and debug it so that I can see what's happening. Debug file. I need not open everything from the beginning again. That's not required. I can just go ahead and debug the flow. Okay, click once, extracting the information. Okay. Clicking on next. Not sure why it's extracting everything. Should actually move to phones only. Let's see if this is done. Extract table executing. Okay. The extract table, is it a foreground process or a background process?
Background process.
Yes, because even if the web page is not available, it can still extract the information. Okay. I think there is an issue with this selector, some kind of issue with this selector. So where is it? DB extraction cancelled. Extract data table cancelled. Extract data table executing. So let's see if this is working or not. Test extraction. So we are having the information. This is coming in properly. Okay. And the next selector, next item, target for next button, click offset for this selector, strict selector, highlight. This is not available. Okay, ask previous. Highlight. So this is available. And here, next, here it's not available, but it is still showing that it is valid, and highlight is not there. So maybe this will not work if that is not available. So we'll do one thing. Open UI Explorer and see what are its properties. Since next is not available, we can see if the property, if there is any property change to make it hidden. Okay. So next page, next item, highlight. So there is nothing that to highlight. Let's check if this is available as hidden mode. Okay. Next page. So display style, what is the style for display? It's none, right? If the display is none, then we will not be able to click on that particular item. Okay, so how can we do with this if we don't have something with respect to selector? Like, okay, I'm not able to see this one now. So how can I do it? Any idea? Button previous enabled visibility is 0. Display. Display enabled. Come on, give me some ideas. None of you are trying to give any idea. Why? Button next to. So if we are not able to use extract table, then how can we implement this one? Come on.
What is your question?
Okay, now that see here, this extract table, it is not able to identify whether it is available or not. For example, if this is the next page, let's assume that we will go into the next page and then this button disappears, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But even if it is disappearing, it is still highlighting it somewhere and it is valid.
Okay. Maybe anchor?
Uh, the button is valid. If you have seen,
I mean,
that
position it
is
is showing.
position.
If we see it is
It is
highlighting the
showing
position,
what?
but we are not able to see the button, right?
See it, but it's not even highlighting because that's in the background. It's hidden. So how can we do this? How can we do this?
We'll check that button is true or not, visible or not.
Button is visible or not? How can you check that? That's correct approach, but how can you check that?
Can we element exit view?
If it is uh,
Element exist will give it true because the button is available. It's true. Element exist is true.
okay,
If we add properties like text, inner text, means a name, inner text, still it will true.
So which property do you need from here?
If I add attribute a name, then and if it is not available, still it will give true.
Because the element is available, but it is hidden.
Okay.
This next button is available. So if you see here, there is no next button, but still the button is available. If you go back to previous page and if you just refresh it, validate it. Okay. Now again, if you can highlight, this will be shown. So it's there in the page.
Find element will give.
Find element. Yeah, find element will give you the element, right? See, display none is available for both items. Like even if it is available or not, display none is always available. The style. So F12, let's go with F12. Remember my decision. Okay, let's go with this one. So let's see this. Click on next. Okay, so this is list item, and we are having a button here. Display style is block. When we click on this particular item, what are we changing the display style to?
None.
None. So if you go back to the previous page, display play is
Maybe if you change this, I mean, if you change that, if you remove none and maybe change it to something else so it appears.
so there are only two types of displays: display block, display float, and then display none. So block will show the item, display none will hide the item, or it will not show any item. Okay, so we'll do something like this. Let's try to fetch the item. Here you go. Extract the information. But while extracting the information, the style should be true. But if we are going with this one, next button, we will not be able to get the style from here. But here, if you can see, the style is display none. If we just refresh the page, options, UI frameworks, okay. Set as target element, set as target element. If we just go to this one, next one. So what is the style? Style. So what is the style now? Display is block, right? Okay. So we'll do something like this one. So let's go back to UiPath, extract table. We are using extract table, but next page, next button, target is null. So we are removing everything from next. Okay. Target null. Okay, sorry. Check with this one. Target element is fine. Target next button is null. Okay, there is no null that I am applying. So what I'll do, I'll create a category table, new. What can we do? New what? Assign. See, I just need to do one thing. After extracting one page, it need to find the element. So, do you know how to extract properties of any element? Do you know it or not?
No.
Get attribute is the property. So the property is indicates on store. So this is the property. So next page. Okay. And strict selector, I'm selecting so that I know what exactly I need to click. Confirm. So the attribute comes in style. What is the style of it? CSS selector, relative visibility, style. So what is the style? Display block. str display type. Okay. So I have 8 more minutes, but let's see if we can complete within 8 minutes. Now we are getting with get attribute is next is display type. So let's have a breakpoint and let's see how things are moving in for us. And here we have the item. And let's go ahead and debug the file. The first thing it's clicking on some item phones, then it's waiting, it's extracting all the values, and it came out because it's not having any next button, it's coming out. And in the interview also you can explain why you are not using a next type, because that's available always, and we are not able to identify if it is removed or not, like the last page should not be available. So that's the reason we are going with this next button. So step into, so watch immediate panel. So what is the str value? Str display type. So display is block. If you can see, if this text contains str display contains dot contains of what block. So this is true. Okay. So stop it. I can do something like this. Okay. So here I go. Extract a table. So after extracting table, what can I do? I can directly write it to range. But if I write it to range, how many times am I writing? Am I writing it on it will be written only once. What about the next page? What is the next page? Come on.
Even first, it must click on next and go to the next page, right? To extract the data. That's what you mean?
But if you click on next page for the in the beginning, then the first page will not be extracted. So you need to extract the first page, click on next, and see if the next is available for the next page. Like it should continue till the till it finds
Okay.
next as display none. Someone sent a message to me. What's the message? Append range. Poonam is telling append range. Yes, that can be used, but you just need to tell me how to do that. Instead of right range, we can use append range as well, but how to do that and when to do that. So I'll be maintaining, see here, I have extracted the information, right? I will use a while loop, do while loop, do while. So first I will extract the information. Okay. So after extracting the information, I will check for the next attribute. Okay. So this next attribute, I will see str display type dot contains. So earlier we have written, right? If it contains what?
Block.
Block, then it should continue and get a new item or get a text item. But here the problem that can arise or that we can get is if the data is already available, then it will rewrite the extracted data table. Then how can we do this?
Yeah, like she said, you have to append the.
Yeah, but if we append, the problem that I have said is, see, how will you just think? Now, if I just continue, let's assume that we continue. Okay. So let's debug the flow. So how many pages do we have in phones? We have multiple pages. Next page also we have. Okay. So this is the next attribute. We hit it, step into, we found the item. Okay, it's going back and extracting, step into. And if we keep next button, click on next button, then it will still go and extract the next item again. It's again going in and extracting the value. So can you see now it's extracting the data always. Okay, but when it should write this particular item, when it should come
When
out
the,
of the loop.
and the next is none. No.
Click. So here I can just use if. Okay. So if I can use and then I can just go ahead and add this value on the top. Use its browser. All this is thinking that we need to do to write a correct code. That's it. Now, if you can see display block. So if there is display block, then I need to hit on next, right? Next button. If the display block is not available, then I should not click on that particular next button. This next I should not click on this. Click selector. Okay. 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 Confirm. So you should click on this particular button. Okay. Now, after it clicks on this particular button or before it clicks, how can I add the items? So can I do one thing here? I already know what is the structure of this file, right? I already know what my table will give me. Is it right or not? So I'll create one final table called dt underscore final table, and it will also be a data table, new data table, and this is new system dot data dot data table. Okay. So what I will do, I'll do one thing over here.
Vajram, why are you giving a value in default? What is that you have mentioned in default?
So here, when we are creating a data table, it should be initialized. Like, okay, create a new data table. That's what we are telling it for
Okay.
us. Okay, so this is the property that we need to add. Now here, one thing that I am also doing is I am assigning if I will use a assign statement. Okay, and I will assign dt final table. And see, I'm writing an if condition inside the assign block. If dt final table dot rows count, if it is equal to 0, okay, then what I'll do, I will clone the template. Extract it. If it is this, then it should be extracted data table dot clone. So it will first extract the information instead of extracting all the information, it will just clone the information or clone the table. Or else I can also do something like this if this is not something that you can understand. So I will write one more if condition here. Okay. So if dt final table dt final table. See, the code can be completed from the beginning. Like I have used extract data table and linked up, right? That will give you results. But this is just to make sure the project works properly. Dot row count if it is equal to 0. So when it is equal to 0, it means that there is no data in it. The final table has no data. So activities and then merge data table. Merge data table. Okay. And source is DT final table. Sorry. The source is what is the source? From where are we need? Where do we need to extract the information?
Extract data table.
Yes. So this is the source. And what is the destination?
TT final table.
Yes. So we are extracting data table and adding it to final. So when it extracts the second page, so will it create a new table or will it add the data to final table? Will it add the information to final table?
Add. If it is 0, it will add the data. If it is not 0, it will append the data. Maybe. That's the
Okay.
idea, right? That's the reason you have
So
taken 0.
let's take it merge data table to the top and let's see if it creates and merges. Okay. So let's have a breakpoint and see the page. So this is the first page. Again, debug the file. So let's see. Extract the data table, get attribute of next button, but merge the data table. Extracting the information. So everything is happening in the background. Now, if you can see, watch extracted data table is the values, product and all, and DT final data table is empty value. So these are the information from the first page. Step into. You'll also see what's there in str display type. Display type is block. So there is next page. Step into. So it merged the data table, if you can see. Okay. And then if there is next page, then hit on next. Step into next. Okay. Now we are going back and then extracting the information. Again extracting the information. So final table, what did it become? Empty. So should this become empty every time it hits the next button, or should it contain information?
Contain.
Sorry.
It must contain.
So why is it not containing the information?
Because it's overwriting it.
So whenever it goes outside the while loop, the scope is inside the while loop, right? So if it is moving, completing a loop, it's again initializing it to empty value. So that is the reason it is giving us an empty value. But let's see. So here, how many rows do we have? We have these many rows. So we can add something like this. Extracted data table dot row count and TT final data table. So this is how I debug row count. How many rows? 0. Step into. So there is no display. Display is none, and it's coming out. And it should write the information into the Excel. Step into. Step into. So how to increase the scope of any particular variable? Can you tell me how to increase the scope of any particular variable?
Go to variable planner.
Exactly. So this particular extra data table or merge data table is available only at this pane. So if you increase that merge data table arguments or variables, if you increase this extra data table to body try catch, okay, then sorry, this is body do block, which is just the body, extract it to try catch. Now, whenever it goes out of try catch, it will be reinitialized. That's fine. But until and unless it is in try catch block, it will contain the value. So let's debug the file again and see. So clicking on forms, extracting the table. So how many rows do we have in forms for the first page? How many?
7.
7. And final table has no values. Next step into merging the data table. So display is none. So there is no next page. Can you see that there is no next page? So this is correct. So step into display is block. If it go out, then what? Which table should it write? Should it write final table or extra data table? Which table should this be writing? Can I have a message?
Final.
Yeah, final table is what it should write because all the data will be merged into final table, right? For every category. So we need to use final table instead of extract table. Extract table will give me only one page data. Final table will give me all the pages data for every category. So let's see. Laptops. So in laptops, we have refresh laptops, every page laptops. So this is next page. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll just use a refresh button on the top. Navigate browser. So refresh is not available now. We need to use navigate tool. And then we can just go and select refresh. So if I hit on refresh, it will from my head to get this. So this is laptops. Laptops have the value. So let's go to phones. So it should click on refresh. It should refresh the page, hit on phones, and then select the value. So that's how it should get. Clicking on phones, extracting the information. Get attribute, step over. So merging the data table, step into. So we have 7 items in final table, and let's see. So phones, it's not having, it's a next, it's, we are having a next page, but why did it not complete this activity? Why it's not picking up the block, even though there is an item? Why? Can anyone tell me why he did not complete this particular activity? Get attribute. Give it out a try. So when I'm at get attribute, I use step over. So when I use step over, this particular activity is exempted. Like from this, I moved from this to here. So it did not complete. Okay, so let's restart the flow. And here I need to step into. So then it will go into this particular item. So these are the steps to debug any particular flow. Navigate, clicking on phones, extracting the information, step into, it picked up, it's not picking up value. So why is it not picking up any value? Let's see. Refresh the page, LI button. So display, page display, style. Display none is not available now. Then what should we do? This code is style is not available in the properties.
Can't you customize the selector by adding the attribute and can't you customize the selector? You can add that attribute like
See,
property and get it.
we cannot customize the selector because the selector is with the page, web page, right? We need to use the selector as is. But here, if you can see, the page item previous we have, and this page item display none we have, but the display none, we are not able to get it over here.
Mm.
Style, I think somehow this got disabled, and, and robot is not able to pick it. So what should we do? Find some other value how where we can get it. Identify a resource. li title is store. This is still store. And the display none is not coming for us now. Date the test target element is not valid. Now let's see button page. This should be valid now. Next button. Yeah, we are not getting the style now. Now what should we do?
But earlier it was showing, right? Why is it not
See,
showing now?
the website is not stable. That's what I'm telling. If you're given
Okay.
in the interview, it's not just about extracting the values, it's how much you're testing as well
Sure.
and
Okay.
how to make it correct. And if you're seeing visibility, it's one. You cannot use this one. So what else can you use? Let's try with inner text of button. Inner text. Let's try with this one. Let's see what are we getting. Cancel. So let's stop this one. So this str display is not coming properly for us, right? So let's use something else that is visible. Let's try with visible. I think visible property should give us some values. Visible, visible, visible. But visible will give us 0 and 1 only. So if you can see here, the visibility, it will be either 0 or 1. But if this is coming in true, even if it is not visible. Visibility, yeah, this is 1, right? So this will be 1 if it is true. But in our page, this is not visible. This is hidden. But even then it's giving out visibility as 1. So we cannot rely on visible. So let's try with inner text. Let's see if we can get something with the inner text. Okay, refresh. Inner text, HTML. See, now this gets refreshed and we don't have style, I guess. We still have style and display is none. Let's refresh it and let's try. Okay, now here you go. What if the value is not coming in properly? Then how can we get it? So this style, if we don't get it, then let's see. Okay, now the style value is still empty, right? Okay, so how can I retry is what we'll see. Okay, there is an activity called retry that I'll use. Retry scope. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just add in this particular value. See, we are covering multiple concepts while completing this project. And in this activity, let's try with something called is match. Okay. So what I'll do, Boolean properties. Okay. The input string is control K. So it should give me a pattern value. Okay. The pattern is string and regex option is anything and the rejects value. So this is bool style available. Okay. So I'm just telling if the style is available or not. And the input string is, so bool value. So here I'll give VB true. It should be true. That is VB2.to string. And by the way, I'll share the code. Don't worry on that. But here what I'll do is if style, sorry, str style display type dot to string dot length equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, then this should be equal to VB false dot to string, or if it is false, then it is VB true. If it is not 0 dot to string. So what it will exactly do is it will retry until for 3 times. So this retry scope will try to retry scope for 3 times, and the retry interval is for every 3 seconds. Okay, again I'm telling here, see we are trying to get some value from the next, but this style is not coming in properly. So what I'm trying to do is, okay, after 3 seconds there might be we can get some value. So it will check for this particular item. If we get any item, then that's fine. Exit the loop. If it is not getting the item, if it is getting false, then go ahead and retry this one. So this is the code logic. Just retry it once more. So this is our page. Let's see. Okay. So style value empty. It's checking for this particular item and it will be false. So it will come back after 3 seconds. Okay. And it's checking. Get attribute. Still empty. Step into. And see, let's see what is the style value. This is next. Step into, again try. Now it's finding the result. Again step into, still not getting the value. Okay, let's try with style is not coming. Inner text. Let's try with inner text. Inner text, let's try with this one. At least we should get some value out of it. Any other ideas for people who have already tried this one? Clicking on phones. So coming to this inner text, step into. The inner text is next. Inner HTML is next. This is what we are getting. But let's hit on the next item. Let's see if that's coming in or not for the next item as well. Merging the data table. Let's check with the next item. It should pick up the next page as well. Do a loop. Writing the data. So it's not going to the next page. So this is wrong again. Calling errors were encountered. Stop. Guys, come on. We are blocked here. Give me some idea, at least. Ticket element. Anyway, are you trying it somehow or not? Next page, we don't have visibility value. It's 9. Why is it 9? File displays none. We are getting the display over here, but here we are not getting the display. Property value. We'll try one last time. Pick this item. Inner text is visible or styles. Inner text style. URL GID. Display none. No description available. Yes, there is no display available. But here, let's try with this one. Inner text style. Display block. Let's go with style again. We need to identify why this is not coming in properly. Edit target, remove information screenshot. Edit target. Validate. See if it is validating or not. Yes. We are having a strict selector. Let's press show. Show all matches. Confirm. Let's ensure that element is visible on the screen. Confirm. But the problem with element, if element is visible on the screen, is if it is something like this, the screen that's not visible. So it should not validate. So that will be a problem with this validity. Let's see properties of next item. Properties, element visibility, active. Or not needed. So even if it is not available, we are selecting the value. Put the responsive websites. Let's try it again. Debug. Any ideas how many of you are trying this one? Everyone are silent, by the way. How many of you are trying? Get attribute, step into Is it not coming in properties, variables, extract table, str display type, do block? This is correct. Let's try to change this one. String display type, try catch. Let's go ahead and give it as try catch. Well, debug again. Okay. Step into still empty. Let's create a new sequence and try. New sequence. This is just for testing. I'll just use this attribute, get attribute only. Use browser I'll take. Sequence I'll add. And this one attach browser. Extract information. Paste. I use browser. I'll remove everything except the browser. Delete. And next. Okay. Okay, let's try. I'm just trying this only one item so that I can validate rather than checking each and every time. Debug again. So we should get some properties out of it. Step into empty. What are the other values we have? Refresh. Done it. So validate. Yes, this is confirmed. And then here, what else do we have? Outer HTML, CSS selector, key app path, display inner text, inner HTML. Inner HTML is next, outer HTML. Let's check with outer HTML. Or for this list button, let's try. Let's try with inner HTML. It should be available. Anyone got a result or you're just trying? All right, I'm feeling like I'm working all alone. Get element, let's map this one. So this is next button. Instead of button, let's select yellow. Once I select an yellow, what is the inner HTML for yellow? Inner HTML, outer HTML. Inner HTML, we are having button, custom ID and button value. Let's try with this selector at least. Here's a selector I can remove. Form I can remove. I can select inner text, pagination, and this one. So I'll select this item and I'll place it. Edit selector. And I'll just give this one. Validate. And then confirm. So let's see inner HTML. Inner HTML debug. Step into. So we have button class. All the button with ID. But we are not getting the style of it. Why, how? Can we use image exist? Yes, we can use image exist. But the problem is if the image is at the bottom, how can you find if the image exists or not? Did you understand my point, Mahadevi?
Yes.
Let's assume that it's at the bottom. Every time the page loads,
Yeah.
then it will be at the bottom only. So image will never be available for you. Then what can you do? This button to, I'm not sure why you are not getting this property. Relative visibility is available. Value 9, visibility 9, 1. If we can get at least display, text we don't have, display we don't have, relative visibility. If we have any particular value where we can map it, then I can do it. This one again. So this is li, and this is button. Here we have style now. Here in the properties. Do you have any error? Anything in the forum?
What is relative style? I have got
What is
relative style.
relative style is it's selecting the value related to any particular element, but that's not giving us the correct value, right? Relative visibility is false. Let's see if relative visibility is true when we have this one. Relative visibility, do we have true now? If that is the condition, then we can try to use relative visibility. So this is false now. Li button. Relative visibility is true. Maybe can we try? I think we can try with relative visibility. Okay, we'll try with that. Property top relative visibility. Relative relative visibility. And let's debug. Let's see. Maybe we can get some value out of it. Step into Boolean. I think we are getting some value, but that is throwing a Boolean result and it's coming out a value of string. So that is the reason it's not able to get this one. So let's go ahead and convert this to a Boolean value. And then just log it. Log message. So str display. Display type. Step into. So this is true. So what we can do is we will restart it, but we will go to the next page. Now we'll try again, restart. So now this should be false. If this is working, then we can use this one. Step into. Okay, this is false. Let's try to utilize this one in our code to extract information. So what are the two things that we need to change immediately? This style attribute, instead of style, this should be, what is this? Relative visibility, and the display type, it should be changed from display type string to Boolean, and this will be bool display variables closes. Just want to get this confirmed anyway. So we'll just move this to the top, remove this retry scope. Display type is block, so bool display type it will not contain anything. It's true or false. So let's have a breakpoint here. And one thing that I can do is before extracting or after extracting data table, I can do one more thing. Where is get attribute? Did I delete that one? Yeah. Okay, sorry. Get attribute. Delete. This is empty. Okay. So this one, let's try to have a breakpoint and then let's continue. But before extracting the value, extracting this particular value, I'll just send one item. That is hotkey. I will just send a hotkey to record shortcut, page down, and that's it. So I will go to this one and then hit on end. So it should go to the last. That's what I'm just trying to do so that the page loads completely. Run file. Validation error. Contains is not a member of Boolean. So where is it? Where is contains? Okay. So this is bool. Display type. If this is true, then it will continue. Run file. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Page. Clicking on next. And this will not work. And then how many results do we have? Project. Data. This is phones only. So I should get some result out of it. Data. Okay, we have 14 results, but the problem is we have MacBook Pro as well. So do we have MacBook Pro in results? Phones. Previous page. Phones. We have only one page here. But yeah, we also have this one. Previous. Not sure why this page is coming in like this. Anyhow, we are not concerned about how the page is designed. Clicking on phones will give us this item. Clicking on next page will give us this item. No need to click on previous page. Laptops. These are our laptops. There is no previous button. Monitors. Laptops. Just refresh. Hit on laptops. Then hit on next. It will give you the monitors as well. Fine. Let's delete this data and let's try. Delete. Thank you so much for relative visibility option. Okay. Close. Try again. Okay. And then let's run the flow. So if you click on phones first, paste down, click on next, extract all the values, and then go to the next item. Click on laptops, extract the next item. Click on everything, extract everything, refresh. Monitors, go to the end, click on next, extract everything, close. Close the process. Okay, project. Let's see with the results. Data. We have all the values. We have MacBook. And we have 16 values. Okay, so irrespective of what information we have, we are able to extract all the values from it. Okay, we are not concerned if the data is correct in the website or not. We are just showing and extracting the values. Okay, now things to mention or things to check. Let's assume that while opening the website, like while debugging the website, debug, let's have slow step. We opened it. Let's assume that the page opened. And all of a sudden, the page gets closed. So we try to open, the page gets closed. So what are we doing? Can we continue? Yes, no. Please tell the answer. Can we continue or not?
We have to message. We have mentioned log message saying we have thrown an exception, right?
Yes, it should throw an exception. So how much time will it wait to complete this particular activity, like to throw?
Any activity is at 30 seconds. Sir.
Exactly. So here we are just telling that open website failed. Okay. And we are giving out all the details. Cannot communicate with the browser. Please check with the details. UiPath extension. Okay. And we are logging a message as well. So what message did we log? Open website failed. And more details cannot communicate with the browser. Please check with the extension. Since we will not be able to continue further, we are just rethrowing it. And we are closing the process. Okay, this is the runtime error that we'll get. So if you can see, we are also handling errors here. So this pattern.
Because you know that you might get an error, so that's why you have put the code in try catch block.
Exactly. So I'm assuming that there can be an error, and if there is an error, how can I handle it? Okay. So that's the reason. If I handle it here, okay, let's assume that we don't have rethrow. So what will happen? We started main, init failed, then what will happen? It's
will
not
end the
having a
process.
rethrow. It will not end the process. It will continue because it's already handled. Exception is handled by a log message.
Okay.
Okay. Now it will just continue with the next activity. So here it failed, but it's already handled. So it will continue with the next activity. Okay. So to avoid it, we are using a rethrow.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So that's it for today.
Okay, if you don't mention the exception, it will continue to process, and then if you're mentioning it, so first it will show, and then accordingly it will act, right? That's
So
what you mean.
if you have anything, if you have a catch block, you are saying that okay, I know the exception, I am catching the error.
Mm,
So you can continue.
okay.
Okay, but here I know that I cannot do anything after this catch block, so I'm rethrowing it. I
Okay.
cannot do it, so just go ahead and throw an exception again.
Okay.
Yes. So finally, we are able to complete the project, and this is how it is. Okay, but see, the idea is not just to extract the information from the table, if you observe it properly. It's about how we handle the exceptions, as well how we make sure that the code is modularized. And I have only one piece of code to extract the information and to write it to Excel. I'm just reusing it every time I have. Okay. So all these things you need to consider while going for an interview. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, no,
Yeah, yeah. Yes, yes.
that's great. Thank you so much, everyone. Then we'll be closing it for today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will share the recordings for 2 days. Bye bye.
Bye.